In the realm of spiritual growth, navigating the obstacles that hinder our journey towards enlightenment is a profound endeavor. We often find ourselves grappling with challenges and temptations that threaten to derail our path. But what are these anti-spiritual elements, and how can we overcome them on our quest for inner peace and wisdom? Delving into the teachings of spiritual guru Dolores Cannon, we uncover 7 crucial factors that must be avoided to maintain spiritual alignment and growth. Join us as we explore these transformative insights and embark on a journey towards greater spiritual awareness and fulfillment. Subscribe to our channel today to embark on this enlightening journey together and unlock the secrets to spiritual empowerment and enlightenment. Negative thinking and self-talk. Negative thinking and self-talk are formidable adversaries on the path to spiritual growth, capable of clouding our minds, draining our energy, and hindering our progress. When we succumb to negative thoughts and beliefs, we create a self-perpetuating cycle of pessimism and limitation that distorts our perception of reality and impedes our ability to manifest our desires. At the core of negative thinking lies the ego, which thrives on separation, fear, and lack. The ego seeks to maintain control by keeping us trapped in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction and discontent, convincing us that we are unworthy, inadequate, or powerless. This negative self-talk reinforces limiting beliefs about ourselves and the world around us, perpetuating a downward spiral of despair and hopelessness. To break free from the grip of negative thinking, we must cultivate awareness of our thoughts and beliefs, recognizing that they are not inherently true or immutable. We can start by observing our internal dialogue and identifying patterns of negativity, such as self-criticism, comparison, or catastrophizing. By shining the light of consciousness on these thought patterns, we can begin to challenge their validity and replace them with more empowering and uplifting perspectives. Practicing mindfulness and presence is another effective strategy for combating negative thinking. By anchoring ourselves in the present moment, we can disengage from the relentless chatter of the mind and cultivate a sense of inner peace and tranquility. Through mindfulness practices such as meditation, breathwork, or body scanning, we can learn to observe our thoughts without judgment and cultivate a greater sense of spaciousness and clarity in our minds. Additionally, cultivating gratitude and positivity is essential for counteracting negative thinking and shifting our focus towards abundance and blessings. By consciously cultivating an attitude of gratitude and appreciation for the blessings in our lives, we can rewire our brains to perceive the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. This shift in perspective allows us to tap into the infinite reservoir of positivity and joy that resides within us, empowering us to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. In conclusion, negative thinking and self-talk are formidable obstacles on the spiritual path, capable of undermining our sense of well-being and preventing us from realizing our true potential. By cultivating awareness, mindfulness, gratitude, and positivity, we can break free from the grip of negativity and embrace a more empowered and fulfilling way of being. Let us commit to cultivating a mindset of positivity and abundance, knowing that our thoughts have the power to shape our reality and create a life of joy, purpose, and fulfillment. Attachment to material possessions. Attachment to material possessions is a common stumbling block on the spiritual journey, as it often leads to a distorted sense of identity and an overemphasis on external validation and gratification. In a world that glorifies material wealth and possessions, it's easy to fall into the trap of equating our worth and happiness with the things we own. However, true fulfillment and inner peace cannot be found in material wealth alone. At the heart of attachment to material possessions lies the belief that external objects can provide us with lasting happiness and fulfillment. We become attached to the idea that acquiring more possessions will bring us a sense of security, status, or validation, and we often measure our success and self-worth by the size of our bank accounts or the possessions we accumulate. However, this attachment to material possessions only serves to perpetuate a cycle of dissatisfaction and longing. No matter how much we acquire, we find ourselves constantly seeking more, chasing after the elusive promise of happiness and fulfillment that never seems to materialize. In our relentless pursuit of external validation, we lose sight of our true essence and become disconnected from the deeper sources of meaning and fulfillment in our lives. To overcome attachment to material possessions, we must cultivate a deeper understanding of our true nature and inherent worth beyond external trappings. We can start by examining our motivations for acquiring material possessions and questioning whether they align with our values and spiritual goals. By becoming aware of the underlying beliefs and desires that drive our attachment to material wealth, we can begin to unravel the hold that materialism has on our lives. Practicing detachment is another essential step in overcoming attachment to material possessions. Detachment does not mean renouncing all possessions or living in poverty, but rather cultivating a mindset of non-attachment and freedom from dependence on external objects for happiness and fulfillment. By letting go of our attachment to specific outcomes and possessions, we create space for greater inner peace, contentment, and spiritual growth. Moreover, cultivating gratitude for what we already have can help us shift our focus away from what we lack and towards the abundance that surrounds us. By recognizing and appreciating the blessings in our lives, we can cultivate a sense of abundance and fulfillment that transcends material wealth. In conclusion, attachment to material possessions is a significant obstacle on the spiritual path, as it hinders our ability to cultivate inner peace, contentment, and spiritual growth. By examining our motivations, practicing detachment, and cultivating gratitude, we can overcome attachment to material wealth and embrace a more meaningful and fulfilling way of life. Let us remember that true wealth lies not in what we possess, but in the richness of our inner being and the depth of our connections with others. Ego identification. One of the most insidious obstacles on the spiritual path is the identification with the ego, a false sense of self that thrives on separation, judgment, and fear. The ego is the voice in our heads that tells us we are separate from others, that we must compete and compare ourselves to others to feel worthy, and that our worth is based on external achievements and possessions. When we identify with the ego, we become trapped in a never-ending cycle of comparison, judgment, and self-doubt. We measure our worth by external standards such as wealth, status, or appearance, and we constantly seek validation and approval from others to bolster our fragile sense of self-esteem. However, the ego is not who we truly are. It is a construct of the mind, a collection of thoughts, beliefs, and conditioned patterns that have been shaped by our upbringing, society, and past experiences. Beneath the layers of ego lies our true essence, a spark of divine consciousness that is inherently connected to all of creation. To transcend ego identification, we must first become aware of its presence in our lives. We can do this by observing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with detached awareness, recognizing the patterns of egoic thinking and behavior that arise within us. Through self-inquiry and introspection, we can begin to unravel the grip that the ego has on our lives and reclaim our true identity as spiritual beings. Practicing humility is another powerful antidote to ego identification. Humility is the recognition of our inherent interconnectedness with all of creation and the acknowledgement that we are not separate from others. When we approach life with humility, we let go of the need to compete, compare, and assert our superiority over others, and we embrace a sense of unity, compassion, and cooperation. Furthermore, cultivating self-awareness and mindfulness is essential for transcending ego identification. By staying present in the moment and observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we can disentangle ourselves from the grip of the ego and connect with our true essence. Through practices such as meditation, breathwork, and self-reflection, we can deepen our connection to our innermost being and experience a profound sense of peace, clarity, and wholeness. In conclusion, ego identification is a significant obstacle on the spiritual path, as it hinders our ability to connect with our true essence and live authentically. Let us remember that our true identity is not defined by the ego, but by the boundless love, wisdom, and compassion that reside within us. Resistance to change. Resistance to change is a natural human tendency rooted in our fear of the unknown and our attachment to familiarity and comfort. However, on the spiritual path, resistance to change can become a significant obstacle that hinders our growth and evolution. Change is an inevitable part of life, a constant process of flux and transformation that propels us forward on our spiritual journey. Yet, when we resist change, we cling to the past and prevent ourselves from embracing new opportunities for growth, healing, and expansion. Resistance to change often stems from a fear of the unfamiliar and a desire to maintain control over our lives. We may fear the uncertainty and unpredictability of change, worrying about what the future may hold and whether we will be able to adapt to new circumstances. As a result, we cling to the safety and security of the familiar, even if it no longer serves our highest good. However, by resisting change, we stagnate and limit our potential for growth and transformation. Change is not something to be feared, but embraced as an opportunity for growth, renewal, and expansion. When we open ourselves to change, we invite new possibilities into our lives and create space for greater fulfillment and joy. To overcome resistance to change, we must cultivate a mindset of openness, flexibility, and trust in the universe. Instead of clinging to the past or fearing the future, we can learn to embrace the present moment and surrender to the flow of life. Through practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and self-reflection, we can develop the resilience and inner strength to navigate life's changes with grace and ease. Moreover, it's essential to let go of the need to control outcomes and trust in the wisdom of the universe. When we relinquish our attachment to specific outcomes and surrender to the natural rhythm of life, we allow for greater synchronicity and flow to enter our lives. We begin to see change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth and expansion, a chance to step into our highest potential and embrace the fullness of life. In conclusion, resistance to change is a significant obstacle on the spiritual path, as it hinders our ability to grow, evolve, and embrace new possibilities. By cultivating openness, flexibility, and trust in the universe, we can overcome resistance to change and embark on a journey of profound transformation and self-discovery. Let us embrace change as a natural and inevitable part of life, trusting that it holds the keys to our greatest growth and fulfillment. Unresolved trauma and emotional baggage. Unresolved trauma and emotional baggage can weigh heavily on the soul, hindering our spiritual growth and preventing us from experiencing true inner peace and fulfillment. Traumatic experiences from our past, whether they be physical, emotional, or psychological, can leave deep scars on our psyche and create patterns of dysfunction and suffering in our lives. When we carry unresolved trauma and emotional baggage, we are unable to fully engage with the present moment and live authentically. Instead, we are haunted by the ghosts of our past, replaying painful memories and reliving past traumas in our minds. This perpetual cycle of re-traumatization keeps us trapped in a state of fear, anxiety, and disconnection from ourselves and others. Moreover, unresolved trauma and emotional baggage can manifest in a variety of ways, including depression, anxiety, addiction, and dysfunctional relationships. These symptoms are often attempts by the psyche to cope with and numb the pain of past traumas, but they ultimately serve to perpetuate the cycle of suffering and prevent us from experiencing true healing and wholeness. To overcome unresolved trauma and emotional baggage, we must be willing to confront our past and engage in the process of healing and integration. This involves acknowledging and validating our experiences, expressing our emotions, and seeking support from trusted friends, family members, or mental health professionals. Therapeutic modalities such as talk therapy, somatic experiencing, and EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, can be particularly helpful in processing and resolving trauma on a deeper level. These approaches provide safe and supportive environments for exploring and releasing stored emotional pain and trauma, allowing for greater healing and integration to occur. Additionally, spiritual practices such as meditation, breathwork, and energy healing can support the process of trauma healing by helping to calm the nervous system, release emotional blockages, and connect us to our inner wisdom and resilience. By combining therapeutic and spiritual approaches to healing, we can address unresolved trauma and emotional baggage at the physical, emotional, and spiritual levels, paving the way for greater peace, wholeness, and spiritual growth. In conclusion, unresolved trauma and emotional baggage are significant obstacles on the spiritual path, as they prevent us from experiencing true healing, wholeness, and inner peace. By confronting our past, seeking support, and engaging in the process of healing and integration, we can overcome these obstacles and embark on a journey of profound transformation and self-discovery. Let us embrace the healing journey with courage and compassion, knowing that true liberation awaits on the other side of our pain and suffering. Lack of self-care and boundaries. In the pursuit of spiritual growth, it is essential to prioritize self-care and establish healthy boundaries that honor our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. However, many individuals neglect their own needs and fail to set boundaries, leading to feelings of burnout, resentment, and disconnection from their authentic selves. Lack of self-care can manifest in various forms, including neglecting our physical health, ignoring our emotional needs, and neglecting our spiritual practices. When we neglect self-care, we compromise our ability to show up fully in the world and fulfill our highest potential. We may find ourselves feeling depleted, exhausted, and out of alignment with our true selves. Similarly, failure to establish healthy boundaries can leave us vulnerable to manipulation, exploitation, and emotional overwhelm. Without clear boundaries, we may find ourselves saying yes to things that deplete our energy and compromise our well-being, leading to feelings of resentment, anger, and disempowerment. To overcome the lack of self-care and boundaries, we must prioritize our well-being and establish clear boundaries that honor our needs and values. This involves setting aside time for self-care practices such as exercise, meditation, journaling, or spending time in nature. By nurturing our physical, emotional, and spiritual health, we replenish our energy reserves and create a solid foundation for spiritual growth and inner peace. Furthermore, it's essential to establish healthy boundaries in our relationships and daily interactions. This may involve saying no to activities or commitments that drain our energy, asserting our needs and preferences, and communicating our boundaries clearly and assertively. By honoring our boundaries, we protect our energy and preserve our inner peace, allowing us to show up fully in the world and contribute our unique gifts and talents. In conclusion, lack of self-care and boundaries are significant obstacles on the spiritual path, as they hinder our ability to nurture our well-being and establish healthy relationships with ourselves and others. By prioritizing self-care and establishing clear boundaries, we create the space for greater fulfillment, joy, and spiritual growth in our lives. Let us honor our needs and values, knowing that self-care and boundaries are essential ingredients for living a balanced, authentic, and empowered life. Attachment to external validation. Attachment to external validation impedes spiritual growth, as it relies on others' approval to define self-worth. Seeking external validation stems from a lack of self-confidence and self-esteem, perpetuating feelings of unworthiness. Relying on external validation leads to insecurity and dependence on others' opinions for self-worth, fostering a disconnect from inner validation. To overcome this obstacle, cultivating self-worth independent of external opinions is crucial. Practices like self-love and self-acceptance foster inner validation, empowering individuals to recognize their inherent worthiness. Authenticity and alignment with personal values also mitigate the need for external validation. By trusting inner wisdom and embracing authenticity, individuals reclaim their power to define self-worth, transcending the limitations of external validation. Ultimately, detachment from external validation fosters genuine self-empowerment and spiritual growth, leading to a deeper connection with the true self. In conclusion, embracing the signs of growth on our spiritual journey empowers us to navigate challenges with grace. Let's honor our progress, trusting each hurdle leads to self-awareness and enlightenment. Subscribe for deeper insights and guidance. Join our community as we explore the mysteries of the soul together.